For all type of video and audio transfers on DVDs or CDs, please contact Joe BORG on 0414 429 391. Gday Maltaussies show. I'm Joe BORG and I'm going to be with you for another week, and I trust that you're going to enjoy the show. Sunday, we're going to have bingo at the Hamroom Club, 100 Jackson Street, Marsden Park. We're going to have free muffins, coffee, or tea, and we have 15 games, and you win good prizes, which is money. So all electronically, computerized. So when you come, enjoy playing the games and you win some money. Who knows? See you at 3:30. We're going to open the show with Joe APAP and the song FJURA, The Flower.
دين الفيورا حمرز بها حلدك وجهك ليعشقني دين الفيورا دين تايتك يا الوردة تعالي محبة لين بيناتنا فيورا حمراء تايتالي محا قلبي يناتي تيني محبتك لا تبزاش عشان افلي بحالك ما بقاش قلبي يناتيك تيني محبتك لا تبزاش عشان افلي بحالك ما بقاش افتكر ديك ديك الوردة اللي كان جبت لك الأول ضربة ليلتقينا فيورا حمراء تايتالي محا قلبي يناتيك تيني محبتك لا تبزاش أشنف لبحالك ما بعش فيورا حمراء تايتاليك محا قلبي يناتيك تيني محبتك لا تبزاش أشنف لبحالك ما بعش فيورا حمراء تايتاليك محا قلبي يناتيك تيني محبتك لا تبزاش أشنف لبحالك ما بعش فيورا حمراء تايتاليك محا قلبي يناتيك تيني محبتك لا تبزاش.
I met a nice local lady to show me around Gozo.
Was Day Portnoy.
Ooh, good sausage. All right, let's see. Oh, good.
It's good.
It's a little flatter, less air, and a little
Exactly.
bit crustier.
Exactly.
For sure.
More bready.
More bready. Yeah, and then you got the cheese and the cream, good base. The potatoes get this really nice char from the oven because they
Yep.
do long cook on the top, short cook on the bottom. And then the sausage comes
10 minutes and then
Yeah.
3 minutes to finish it off.
Yeah, and the sausage is pretty top. I appreciate. She gave us the pizza.
Ah,
Ah,
thank you.
thank you.
Thank you. Respect.
All right, so for the next part of our food tour, we're going to head into Valletta, which is the capital city, if you want to put it that way, even though it feels like Malta is just one big city, oddly enough. From Valletta, which is on basically a fortified peninsula, you can actually see the 3 old cities of Malta that were the capital before. And so each one has a fortress, and then there's just this really beautiful peninsula, which is all connected to the Mediterranean. It's like a beautiful place with beautiful food, so let's see more of that now.
Valletta rises from the sea like a golden fortress. Built after the Great Siege of 1565, where the knights held off a great Ottoman incursion, it's become one of Europe's finest planned cities, a grid of straight streets designed for defense and airflow. Behind plain facades lie Baroque interiors dripping in gold and jewels, like inside St. John's Co-Cathedral. Outside, laundry flutters between carved wooden balconies introduced during British rule. It's a city of contradictions, austere and ornate, solemn and loud. At sunset, limestone turns honey-colored and the harbor glows. This is where Malta stages its history, but it's also where teenagers skateboard and old men argue politics. The past isn't frozen here, it's conversational, and it's really in your face. To get to see the old Valletta, Andrew and I stop into Cafe Cordina, a spot which dates back to 1837. Originally established in Copiscua, just across the bay, it relocated to Valletta and became a fixture of island life. It's survived colonial shifts, wartime bombings, and independence, and makes a pretty damn good cup of coffee. Inside, chandeliers glow over polished counters stacked with almond pastries, cannoli, and delicate sweets shaped by Sicilian influence. Malta's British chapter brought tea culture here, but the sweets remain unmistakably Mediterranean: citrus zest, marzipan, and honey. Sitting here feels like occupying a crossroads cafe in Europe and North Africa all at once. And it's one hell of a place.
All right, so here we got the pudina.
Pudina.
Okay, pretty dense. Feeling
Yes,
pretty
very dense, very dense.
Yeah. Okay, got it.
This is from the British time,
From the
obviously.
British times.
They like the bread puddings.
like pudding. There you go.
Yeah, literally.
All right, there we go. It's like a really dense bread pudding with a lot of fruit, coconut on top, like a really backbone of like
Yes.
cinnamon or like sweet spices, like anise. Like, you really pick up some anise.
I haven't had this
And
for
then candy
years.
fruit. Yeah.
It's nice,
Oh,
huh?
that's a good one. So this one's cool because it's in the shape of the Holy Cross of the
Yep.
Order of St. John,
Yes.
which is on the Maltese flag and was the very interesting historical kind of like crusader group that took over Malta for 300 years.
Yep.
So
Man knows.
yeah, well,
And they actually, Valletta was named after the Grand Master, whose name was La Valette.
yes.
So he was the Grand Master, and out of respect to him, we literally named our capital city after him.
And they've still got a cake. That's all they got, but they still got a cake. So,
Exactly.
All right, I'm gonna take the middle.
Yep, I think it's 2 pieces, so we can,
Oh, okay.
you know, like
Ah, okay, nice.
ooh,
All right.
So you can see it's gonna be dense.
Yeah, dense with dates and peanuts. Sweet, nutty. Yeah, that sort of winter spice as well.
You know, remember what we had this morning?
Yeah.
The round one, the honey ring.
Yes.
It's basically that filling.
Yes.
But without the pastry and just that filling.
For sure.
So it's much denser, you know.
Yeah. Good though. Very interesting, this one. Like, is Valletta still very Maltese? Like, can you find Maltese things here, or is it just really touristy now?
No. Residentially, only Maltese people live here.
Okay.
And they will not leave because they're very, you know, if you're born in Valletta or you move to Valletta, you're never leaving. Because
Okay.
you're very proud to live here.
Yeah.
There aren't many hotels because, like I said, no one wants to give up their homes.
Also no space for it.
No
at all,
space
yeah.
for it.
Valletta is like a 4 to 5 peninsular part of the island,
Yeah.
and so there's no space to expand at all. All traditional
Unless
housing.
you literally build in the sea, which ain't happening,
Yeah.
you know.
This is really, really beautiful here. Like, they took so much care to like build a beautiful city with churches and with all the different facades and the architecture.
Clean, you know, they
And the cafes are still going. Okay,
still going.
That's good. That's
Still
good to
going,
hear.
still going.
We close our food tour at Cafe Jubilee with a pint of Chisk, Malta's national lager first brewed in 1929 during British rule. It's light, crisp, and built for the heat. Around us, conversations bounce between Maltese and English, the island's bilingual reality. Malta may be small in size, but its story stretches far, from Crusader sieges to EU membership, from rural sheep farming to financial service hubs. Malta has always absorbed influence, and somehow remained unmistakably itself.
Chisk is Malta's national beer. It's the only beer which is brewed and exported from Malta. This is actually Chisk XL, which is the low-carb version, because we've been eating a lot of food today, so I had to reduce on the carbs, but honestly, they've really done a good job in managing to get the Chisk taste through this beer. They also have a few different beers. They have the famous Blue Label, all lovely. Hope my mom's not watching this, but maybe 12, 13, you know, it was everywhere. You go to the beach, there's Chisk. You go out with your friends, go clubbing, it's always pint of Chisk. You know, because apart from it being ours, it's really good. Malta it's a small island, but there's quite a lot of things to do, especially as a kid growing up, you know. We're full of beaches, sports, water polo, meeting up with friends, there's always something going on, you know. So having a Chisk to accompany that, as I'm doing right now, after a great day of filming, just goes down beautifully. Cheers. But if it's good, it's good. Cheers.
If it's good, it's good.
Nice
Cheers.
glass though.
Yeah, not bad.
You can get traditional Maltese foods like the lampuki pie, which you haven't tried, but when it's in season, which is between September and December, you must come and try a fresh lampuki pie. And they also have a restaurant in Gozo called Cafe Jubilee.
Okay.
So 2 Jubilees, and now they've branched into a new concept.
Right.
Which I use a cool idea. It's a cool concept, actually. I'll explain it to you. It's the family are very well traveled. They travel like you. They travel around the world. It's their hobby. The wife actually has a page where it's called Wandering 4, I believe, and they travel around the world. So they kind of picked their favorite dishes from everywhere they've gone, and they put it on one menu.
Nice.
So the kitchen, it's full of different nationalities. They have like Sri Lankan black pork curry. They have
That's a good one.
Maltese ravioli, because that's a Jubilee staple. They've got chettinad curry. You know, they have different things from different parts of their life.
Sure.
Cheers to the Cafe Jubilee team.
To Cafe Jubilee team.
We had to give them a shout out today.
Yes. So, what I think is crazy about Malta and exploring the island and going with locals is it is such a small island. It takes 30 minutes to cross from north to south and about 45, how long?
Without traffic.
Without traffic.
Without traffic.
Okay.
It's, I'd say, 30 minutes diameter, width.
Yeah.
And then you have about
Like
45 minutes
Yeah,
length.
it's so small.
It's so small.
But they have so many people like making their own products, having like old traditions that they're really like focusing on. They have their own breweries. They have their own.
Yep.
There's a ton of people making stuff, and so it's like really impressive because this island could be just a tourist island.
Exactly.
But it's full of
without
like,
a soul, you know.
Yeah, but it's full of life and full of local flavor,
and
which
no
I
one's
really hope
exporting.
stays.
So everything that they're making is being consumed by people in Malta, whether it's tourists or Maltese people, you know.
Right.
So it's nice, you know. They can see the end of the funnel. It's not being produced here and being shipped off to China, you know, or anything.
For sure.
Which is quite cool, I think.
Agreed.
However,
All right.
Chisk have just gotten into global distribution.
Did they really?
So hats off to them.
Natura, Maltese Wildlife in Malta. Directed, filmed, researched, written, edited by the talented Xavier Bonnici.
Dan u li mdawrin bih, ġmien naturali li ma ssibhom kien iktar fid-dinja. Kollox fiċ-ċokon. Kollox fin. Imma speċjali. Din hi n-natura Maltija. Teżor li għandna nipproteġu għal dejjem.
Miġjub lilkom minn ERA, Malta Environment Foundation, APS Bank, Circular Economy Malta, Kummissjoni Interdioċesana Ambjent.
Christmas in July, organized by St. Helena Committee. With your host, EMMANUEL BRINCAT.
Manuel BRINCAT iselmilkom minn Melbourne. Fuq stedina tas Sur Joe BORG li huwa d-direttur ta' dan il-programm il-Gday Maltaussies Show. Sa nikkummenta fuq okkażjoni sabiħa li nar is-Sibt il-11 ta' Lulju konna f'serata dik li ngħidula hawnhekk soċjali imma bl-isem ta' Christmas in July ta' laqda ta' St. Helena Maltese Australian Social Club u Seniors Group. Is-sala pakkjata bin-nies. Jien kelli l-unur fuq stedina tal-President Victor Bartolo li nkun għal darbohra il-preżentatur tal-okkażjoni. Barra hekk, id-dekorazzjonijiet li il-Kumitat u il-President jorganizzaw huma xi ħaġa li tieħu pjaċir tara atmosfera differenti fl-Lulju tagħna u mhux f'Diċembru fi żmien il-miliet. Replika ta' dak ix-xahar ta' Diċembru rajnija fuq l-istage. B'ħafna dekorazzjonijiet u dawk li jitlu fil-Facebook page tiegħi taraw ir-ritratti u tkunu iżjed informati li barra dak li qed ngħid hawnhekk jien. Kif jien ukoll għamilt b'selezzjoni ta' dawk ir-ritratti fuq dan il-programm li s-Sur Joe Borg talabni nibatlu. Fost dawk ir-ritratti taraw ritratti tar-rebbieħa, tal-lotterija. Il-lejla marret tajjeb ħafna, l-mużika kien fidejn Dominic, id-DJ, hekk insibuh, u fl-istess ħin l-ikla kienet smokers board u l-ikel kien abbundanti. Tant kien hemm ikel, kif għadni kif semmejt, li l-President stiden dawk li xtaqu jkollhom it-tieni platt biex jiġu u jieħdu kemm iridu. Kien hemm ukoll u ħadu ħsieb il-President u l-Kumitat għal dawk li għandhom dieta speċjali. Dejjem nawgura lil President Victor Bartolo u l-Kumitat kollu tiegħu li jkomplu jgħinu lil komunità Maltija ta' Melbourne fejn iżommuna maqudin billi jorganizzaw dawn is-social nights. U Alla ħares ma kienx hekk għax in-nuqqas li tintaqa' ma' komunità Maltija ikun kbir u fl-istess ħin aħna tal-età tagħna ma jkonniex fejn immorru. Awguri dejjem lilek Joe u grazzi tal-istedina li għal darb'oħra qiegħed miegħek fuq il-Gday Maltaussies show u fl-istess ħin dejjem nixtieqlek is-saħħa lilek u nselli ħafna għal familja kollha tiegħek. Manuel għal darb'oħra minn Melbourne isellem lilek li tara u tisma' dawn il-kummentari fuq il-Gday Maltaussies show.
Talim ħabbatu dejjem tul ħajti skużani meta minnek ma smajċ meta tli terġax u jien erġajt fik sibt l-imħabba sinċira għalek żgur ma jħobni ħadd kif ser inħallsek jien ma nafx ta' kemm jien tissagrifikax mhux fihom l-ombis irrid irradlak ħajt ta' kemm ġiet irrid innifsik ħajt ta' kemm tbatija int batejt biex lili l-ħajja tajt mhux fihom Bekim ħabtiri
Aħsbu bil-qoddim għal dan it-tur, għax jiddispjaċikom jekk ma tibbukkjawx issa. Trip għal Melbourne
għal festa ta' Santa Lina ta' din is-sena.
Sur Joe Borg tal-Gday Maltaussies show qed jorganizza dan it-trip bil-coach 5-star te u kafe u refreshments intom sejrin li jinkludu free bingos u tieħdu ħafna pjaċir intom niżlin minn Sydney. Għandkom 3 lieli accommodation fil-Crest Hotel St. Kilda, buffet dinner il-ġimgħa filgħaxija fil-Roxbury Park Hotel. hot buffet breakfast fil-hotel il-ħadd u t-tnejn. Is-sibt morru idduru fil-Victoria Mall. Buffet lunch is-sibt fil-Roxbury Park Hotel. Il-ħadd idduru dawra ma' Melbourne. L-ikla ta' nofsinhar jinkludi seafood lunch fil-Roxbury Park Hotel. Entratura għal ballu tal-festa ta' Santa Lina li jiġi organizzat dejjem mit-St. Helena Maltese Australian Social Club li jinkludi 4 korsi ta' ikel u koll imbit, birra, soft drinks, te u kafe. Mbagħad jum il-festa il-ħadd tattendu għal qudiesa u il-festa. Wara il-pulċissjoni tal-festa ikun hemm entratura bla ħlas fis-sala
għaċ-ċelebrazzjonijiet u sfin.
Hemmhekk tiġu servuti ikla u soft drink. Titilqu minn Sydney il-ġimgħa it-28 ta' Awwissu fis-6 ta' filgħodu tluq lura minn Melbourne għal Sydney fit-8 ta' filgħodu it-tnejn il-31 ta' Awwissu. Għal aktar informazzjoni ta' dan it-trip dejjem tistgħu tagħmlu kuntatt dirett ma' Joe BORG fuq 0414 429 391. Sita locations voldieri fejn tpoġġu fil-coach jiġu konfermati meta intom tibbukkjaw.
U neċessarju li tħallsu id-deposit ta' $270 u sal-ewwel ta' Lulju tħallsu il-pagament finali li huwa $900.
Kunu avżati bil-qudiem
li dan it-tur sa jiġi filmjat għax-show
ta' Sir Joe BORG, il-Gday Maltaussies Show. U bekk ikun fuq l-internet u fuq il-Facebook. Il-Gday Maltaussies Show tirringrazzjakom li tissapportjaw lil din il-kumpanija. U ringrazzjament mill-promoter u organizer, is-Sir Joe BORG.
Oh Santa Lina patruna aħna nsommuk is-sena kollha kemm hija mimlija imħabba lejk.
Before you rent in Malta, you must watch this video until the end. With Mike.
You find a place, you sign a lease, you move in. Simple, yeah? But talk to enough expats who've actually done it and a very different picture starts to emerge. We're talking deposit disputes, bait and switch listings, and landlords who control your electricity. We also have legal loopholes that can leave you panic searching for new housing with almost no notice. So before you hand over a single cent, you really need to watch this.
All things Malta.
If you caught episode 29, where I talked about renting versus buying in Malta, you'll know that renting is genuinely the smarter starting point for most people who are new to the island, and I stand by that. But renting requires you to be diligent, and in Malta, this is especially the case. So today I'm going through the darker side of the rental market. And like always, this isn't to scare you. It's because the best thing I can do for you is to tell you the truth before you're sitting in a half-furnished flat wondering why your landlord is threatening to cut your electricity. Let's start with the legal stuff. First up, let's talk about something that catches almost every newcomer off guard, and that's the utilities. In Malta, electricity and water are managed by a company called ARMS. Now, the most common way that things work here is for the ARMS account to stay in the landlord's name while you just simply pay the bills. On the surface, you might think, okay, no big deal. But here's the reality. If you stay on the landlord's account, you're essentially a guest in your own home. It is the landlord who receives the bills, and so technically they are in charge of the remote control. It's not a comfortable position to be in if a dispute ever crops up. Okay, so now you have some context. You need to listen carefully because there are two things you need to know. First, you need to know that you are on the correct tariff. And second, you need to know if the account at ARMS will be in your landlord's name or your own name. Now, the law states that your landlord must get you onto the right tariff. The easiest way to do this is with Form H, but that requires their signature. If they refuse to sign it, they're technically breaking their legal duty, and that's where Form F2 comes into play. This form exists as your emergency bypass to get the account into your own name. First, we'll look at Form H in more detail because this is the most common route. This is the standard fix for your wallet, meaning there is no cost involved. It tells ARMS how many people live in the property so that you get charged the lower residential tariff instead of the more expensive domestic one. Form H is free and it requires the landlord's signature. Now, and this is important to understand, the actual account at ARMS stays in the landlord's name. You're on the right tariff, yes, but the landlord still has overall control. If you want actual independence, or if your landlord refuses to sign Form H, that's when you can consider Form F2. This is called temporary recognition, and it puts the account in your name for the duration of the lease. It bypasses a difficult landlord entirely, but it does require a deposit of €466 and an application.
For all type of video and audio transfers on DVDs or CDs, please contact Joe BORG on 0414 429 391.
A deposit of €466 and an application fee of €50. Most people settle for Form H because it's the path of least resistance, but if you go that route, you'll have to be vigilant. The good news regarding Form H is that legally, you don't have to pay a penny until your landlord shows you the official ARMS bill proving you're on that residential rate. They can't just send you a text or an email asking for X amount to be paid. You want to see the actual ARMS bill for yourself. My best advice: get a clear commitment in writing before you sign any contract, and you'll save yourself a massive headache down the road. The next legal angle is regarding the rent cap, a 5% annual limit on how much a landlord can increase your rent each year. In principle, that's good news for tenants. It's also worth noting that the potential for rent increases should also be stated in the lease contract. The problem is that some landlords have found a workaround. Instead of renewing your lease and being bound by the cap, they end the tenancy, wait a bit, and then re-register a brand new contract at a higher starting price. Technically, that's a new tenancy and it's technically legal, but in practice, it means you either accept a sharp rent increase or you move out. For someone who's not been in Malta for that long, this is genuinely a stressful situation to be in. You've sorted your address for residency purposes and for all the other admin stuff. Your kids might be enrolled in a school nearby. You've just gotten your bearings and suddenly the clock is now ticking on your housing. So if you're signing a lease and it's unusually short, or there are vague references to review at the end of the term, treat that as a red flag. Under Malta's Private Residential Leases Act, rental contracts must also be registered with the housing authority. That's a legal requirement, not a recommendation. And it's the landlord's responsibility to do it, not yours. If a landlord skips the registration, it's actually the landlord who faces penalties, not you. However, you should know that unregistered contracts can still leave you in a messy legal situation when things go wrong. Deposit disputes, eviction pressure, rent disagreements, and such like can all become harder to resolve without a registered contract behind you. Unregistered rentals do still happen in Malta, particularly through informal channels. But here's the good news. You can register the contract yourself with Malta's housing authority, and this safeguards you. So please make sure that your lease contract is registered and don't just accept the landlord's word for it. Unfortunately, it is new expats who are the most likely to get caught out because they don't yet know how the system fully works. So a simple rule: if a landlord or agent is is vague about registration or keeps putting it off, that is a red flag, not an administrative delay. Beyond the legal stuff, there are several other issues which need your full attention, and we'll start with deposits. Deposits are a recurring issue in Malta. Under the Private Residential Leases Act, a landlord can only request a maximum of 1 month's rent as a security deposit, and they can't demand more than 1 month's rent in advance either. So if someone is asking for 2 or 3 months up front, that's not just unusual, it's actually not legal. What's also worth knowing, and this catches a lot of people off guard, is that Malta doesn't have a formal deposit protection scheme like you'd find in the UK. Your deposit sits with the landlord in their account with no independent oversight. So yeah, this is why you really need to follow the steps I will provide shortly. But first understand that disputes between landlord and tenant are quite common regarding the return of deposits, namely because of cleaning and repair deductions. The single best protection you have is this: take a full video walkthrough on the day you move in. Make sure you have video footage of every room, every appliance, and every scuff on the wall. While the video can be for your own peace of mind and protection, you should understand that an inventory report by way of photos and notes needs to be signed and attached to your registered lease. I'm not 100% sure, but maybe you can also use your video as well. Maybe worth finding that out. But in any case, the inventory must be fully documented and attached to the contract from day one. And here's something useful to know. The law actually requires that the deposit be returned within 30 days of the tenancy ending, provided there are no damages or outstanding bills. And if a landlord unfairly withholds it, you can raise a formal case with
If you're going to go to Malta for a holiday or to live, I'm going to show you the first part, how you save money and all the tips that you need.
For just a few islands located in the central Mediterranean, Malta has a long and rich history. Let's take a look at the world's most interesting archipelago. Malta is a relatively small group of islands. Since it is in a strategically important location, it has played a significant role in the Mediterranean. Through its history, different powers always tried to take over the archipelago. The modern country of Malta consists of 5 islands. The largest island is called Malta, and to differentiate it from the country, it is often known as Malta Island. Then there is Comino and Gozo. Completing the set are the uninhabited islands of Camunet and Filfla. Malta is located about 58 miles south of Sicily, 180 miles north of Libya, and 180 miles east of Tunisia. The geographical proximity to all these countries probably emphasizes the area's strategic importance. People have tried to use these islands as a naval base throughout history, since it gives easy access to Europe, Africa, and the Middle East. While it might seem like a nice position to be in, history proves otherwise. The islands have seen the rule of Phoenicians, Carthaginians, Romans, Greeks, Arabs, Normans, Aragonese, Knights of the St. John, French, British, and others. This diverse ruling history has left an indelible cultural mark on the culture of Malta. Today, Malta is the world's 10th smallest country, occupying an area of just 122 square miles and home to a population of around 525,000. However, in the distant past, things were quite different. For one, the archipelago wasn't always an archipelago. Malta stands on an underwater ridge that connects Sicily to northern Africa. This entire ridge served as a dry land bridge between Europe and Africa in the latter part of the Miocene epoch. For a long time, it was believed that the archipelago's first inhabitants dated back to 5700 BCE. Now we know with relative certainty that the first inhabitants arrived sometime around 5900 BCE. Similarly, another misconception was that these people were Sicilians. After analyzing the DNA of archaeological artifacts, we know that both Europeans and Africans existed in this part of the world. These Neolithic people made up fishing and farming communities. In the early days, they lived in caves and villages. One of the earlier reasons to believe that they were from Sicily was the pottery designs, which matched those of Sicilians. There is also some evidence of hunting activities, but we believe that the people did not rely on it as much. But like any civilization, this one evolved as well. As these people came into contact with other cultures, their pottery designs began to change. Anyhow, the people continued farming until the land gave in. The soil could no longer sustain agriculture, and the land saw a prolonged period of drought. For the following millennium, the islands were abandoned. Life returned sometime around 3900 BCE. This second wave of settlement involved a cult of the dead. The presence of such a group can be gleaned from the collective tombs cut into rocks. Archaeologists have even found an underground burial chamber known as Halsefleni Hypogeum, containing many human remains. The chamber has been given the status of a World Heritage Site by UNESCO. Other constructions from this time consists of the Gentija Temple in Gozo, one of the oldest freestanding structures in the world. This civilization lasted for about 1500 years. Their disappearance is not entirely understood, but some speculate that they might have been wiped out by other warring peoples, while others think they could have fallen victim to climate change. The Tarxian cemetery culture arrived soon after that, and around 2500 BCE, the BORG in Nader people settled in the region. Around the 8th century BCE, the Phoenicians began to make contact with the islands. There is some evidence of their presence as an urban culture. The presence of Phoenician tombs indicates a healthy population that probably used the site to expand their seafaring ambitions. Some existing temples were converted into Phoenician structures. They would have used the area as an essential outpost in their Mediterranean trade routes. A settlement was present in the present-day cities of Medina and Rabat, which the Phoenicians called Meleth, or Safe Haven. There is more robust evidence of Carthaginian presence. Around the mid-6th century BCE, some of the Phoenician colonies fell under Persia's rule, including Malta. Archaeological evidence assures us that by the 4th century BCE, Malta had become a trading post, connecting the two sides of the Atlantic, Sicily in the north and Tripolitania in the south. Another interesting thing that happened in this era was the inclusion of Hellenized motifs. In architecture and pottery, we noticed Hellenized features start to become prominent. However, due to a lack of evidence, nobody is sure of the extent to which the society was Hellenized. Some claim it could have been a Greek colony, for example, Apoikia, while others refute any such assumption. Jump forward to the 3rd century BCE, and we know for certain that Malta was raided by the Romans. In the Second Punic War, the islands came under the control of the Romans. According to the Roman historian Titus Livius, commonly known as Livy, the Punic garrison on the island surrendered to the Romans, and the archipelago became a part of the Sicilian province. Still, the Romans did not interfere in the domestic affairs of Malta. In 60, St. Paul the Apostle was shipwrecked on Malta and started preaching Christianity. The Roman era brought interesting changes to the archipelago. The city of Meleth was renamed Melite and started expanding. It grew to such an extent that it occupied most of the expanse of the modern-day city of Medina and even a little bit of Rabat. Archaeological evidence reveals that the city employed adequate defensive maneuvers like building thick walls on all sides. Not only that, but the settlement also had protective ditches. Evidence of the Roman presence in the area is unmistakable. The antiques and other remains show a clear connection to Sicily. Malta eventually fell under the rule of Constantinople in the 6th century. Some people believe that the Vandals and the Ostrogoths may have occupied the islands briefly in the 5th century, but there is no conclusive evidence for this hypothesis. Under Byzantine rule, Malta remained a part of the Sicilian province. Evidence from this era shows that the islands may have played an important strategic role for the empire as harbors for the next couple of centuries. During this time, the improved fortifications may have reduced the size of the main settlements. In the late 9th century, Muslims from North Africa took over the city of Melite. After the city's destruction, some historians claim it remained uninhabitable until 1050, while others think it might have been thriving until that point. The Byzantines tried to take the Muslim settlement back, but to no avail. Nevertheless, the islands changed hands once again with the Norman conquest. They took over Sicily and from there continued onward to Malta. The Muslim and Christian presence in the previous millennium had substantially impacted the island. Even after it fell to the newfound Kingdom of Sicily, a healthy Muslim population remained in the area. A Muslim uprising in 1122 was squashed, and the islands were reconquered. The Muslims were allowed to practice their religion freely until the 13th century. Malta had many influences. The Byzantines had brought Eastern Orthodox, the Arabs had brought Islam, and now the Europeans were bringing Roman Catholicism. One of the primary reasons for this was the migration of Sicilians to the islands. The archipelago would undergo many changes, indicative of the changes in the north. Malta continued to have strong links with North Africa. However, a few historians believe that there were no Muslim civilians or serfs in the region by the mid-13th century. In 1530, Holy Roman Emperor Charles V gave Malta to the Order of St. John. They were more commonly known as the Knights Hospitaller, which was a military order of the Roman Catholic Church. The Knights ruled the islands for the next 275 years, making the island their domain. The Knights were initially tasked with providing assistance, medical or otherwise, to pilgrims. The Ottoman Empire had laid siege to Malta in 1565, but failed to capture the settlement. For the next 2 centuries, the Knights turned the island into their home, but by the late 18th century, the order was declining. In 1775, the Maltese revolted against the Knights in a rebellion known as the Rising of the Priests. It is also remembered as the Maltese Rebellion of 1775. The uprising was squashed, and the leaders were killed or exiled. The Knights had not interacted much with the Maltese, still they managed to imprint much of their cultural identity on the population. However, the Knights' declining prowess meant that they could not rule the archipelago for much longer, and so, in 1798, Napoleon took over the islands. Still, the French presence on Malta was short-lived, as the British took it over by 1800. 2 years later, the French signed the Treaty of Amiens with the British, in which the British were supposed to leave the island. The British failed to adhere to the treaty. The Maltese demands for self-rule were not heeded, as the Maltese harbors were an essential strategic asset for the British. The Maltese were refused home rule, and until the 20th century, the island's political status underwent several changes. During the Crimean War, the economic condition of the islands improved, but after the opening of the Suez Canal in 1869, they retracted. In 1921, the Maltese were given the right to self-govern under British rule. The British retained the right to control foreign and military issues while the local government handled domestic affairs. In 1933, tensions flared again as the archipelago returned to a strict colonial regime. During the Second World War, the Axis powers bombed the island, but the locals did not surrender. The British acknowledged the bravery of the local people. In 1947, Malta was given the right to self-govern again. It was revoked in 1959 and then restored in 1962. The islands received their official independence on September 21, 1964. On December 13, 1974, Malta became a republic. The rule of the Nationalist Party from 1962 to 1971 was an era of alignment with the West. In contrast, the rule of the Malta Labour Party emphasized the sovereignty of the country, leading to the complete withdrawal of British rule by 1979. The Nationalist Party retook the reins in the 1990s and applied for inclusion in the European Union. In 2004, Malta became a member of the EU after a referendum. Today, Malta is the 4th most densely populated sovereign country globally, despite being the 10th smallest by area. Its capital, Valletta, is the smallest capital in the European Union by area and population. Today, Malta is a great tourist destination. Its warm climate and recreational outlook on life offer an excellent resort for tourists. Several architectural and historical monuments provide a window into the country's rich history. We hope you enjoyed this video on the history of Malta. If you did, please hit the like button and subscribe for more videos like this. Also, grab your free Mythology Bundle ebook while it's still available. The link is in the description.
Malta Travel Podcast, Part 1.
Hey guys, so it's the 18th of March in 2026 and I'm here in Valletta, the capital city of Malta, and this is the southernmost capital city in Europe. The whole city is Baroque architecture. and it's definitely worth a visit to this city. Very, very beautiful city. There are so many things to see and do when you're here in Valletta, such as the Baracca Gardens. You can see St. John's Cathedral, you can see the Grand Harbour, and there's a lot of military history here as well. Remember that Malta was a British colony in the past as well. So, but you know, this tour today, guys, what I'm going to focus this on is money saving tips for Malta. I'm going to tell you ways that you can save money when you're here in Malta, and just so you have a better holiday and you get good value for money on your holiday here in Malta. So yeah, so basically to get the first thing is just getting here from the airport, really. What you want to do is just get here as cheaply as possible. Taxis probably cost you quite a lot of money if you just get a normal street taxi or if you get a transfer through your hotel. So what I suggest you do is I suggest you get a bus to the resort you're staying in from the airport. Buses are so cheap here in Malta, you won't believe. For €2 you get a 2-hour bus ticket, or you can buy a weekly bus pass as well, very, very cheaply indeed, or you can buy a monthly bus pass as well. So it's very, very cheap to use public transport here in Malta, and a lot of the tourists don't know that before they get here. So you can go into these newsagent stores and shops here and you can buy your weekly or monthly ticket, or you can speak to the conductor on the bus as well. And you'll also see some machines as well next to the bus stops here where you can also buy those weekly passes, those monthly passes. But you know, for €2 I just pay every time I get on the bus, and you can also use your cash as well, or you can use your card to pay in there on the bus, and you can use multiple journeys with one ticket. So it's very, very good value for money. Now, I mean, if you're staying here in Valletta, what you want to do is you want to get the bus TD4. That is a direct bus that will take you straight through from the airport here to Valletta. It will take you between 12 and 20 minutes, depending on the traffic and everything else. But like here in Malta, there are loads and loads of cars on the roads. There are too many cars everywhere. The city is absolutely packed full of cars here. So that's one thing to be aware of. There can be traffic jams, nothing you can do about it really, but there's just too many cars here on the road. Avoid car hire. Car hire is a very expensive option, and you see all the car hire ones at the airport, and they're much more expensive than buying car hire inside the resort. Use the €2 buses, forget about the car hire. Once you're here in Valletta, in the capital, you just go to the end of this street further on down here where you've got Baracca Gardens, and you've got all the bus stations there, and it's very clearly labelled on the front of each bus where the bus is going to. So for example, if you're going to Massa Scala or Massa Schlock, or you're going to St. Julian's, that will be on the front of the bus. So it's very, very easy to identify which bus you're going to get. So other resorts you're going to be going to, the majority of tourists are going to be staying in St. Julian's or in Pachaville area. So you're going to be getting the TD2 bus, which is a direct bus, takes about 30 minutes to get you through there to the resort, to St. Julian's, or that includes Pachaville, which is the party area with all the nightclubs and bars as well. And also, if you want to go to Slima, get the TD3 bus. The TD3 bus goes direct through there to Slima, or you could also get the X3 bus if you're going through to Budjiba as well, or Aura, because Aura is the next resort to Budjiba. I mean, I stayed in the AX Odyssey Hotel earlier this holiday, and it was just absolutely fabulous, I have to say, and that was located in Aura area just next to Budjiba. So quite literally you can walk up the road to Budjiba from there, and it's only, I think it took me about 7 minutes walk along the promenade, and then I was there in Budjiba where you've got all the bars and the restaurants and everything else. Aura's got some nice hotels, you know, some kind of really upmarket nice hotels down there, and it's good value for money if you stay down there in Aura or Budjiba. It's kind of at the cheaper end of the market, so you get better value for money in terms of your hotel. But if you want to book a hotel and you want discounts on your hotel, then what you want to do is you want to go on a website called Kayak. Kayak is the best hotel comparison site, comparing so many different hotel websites to get you the lowest price and the best deal. And then you just go onto the hotel website that it tells you to go on to get the best deal. Now, right now in St. Julian's, I'm actually staying at the Cavalieri Art Hotel, which is very, very good because it has a pool there on the front line on the marina of Spinola Bay. The views are beautiful from my hotel window as well of the harbour and all the yachts and everything there as well. So I'm really happy with the Cavalieri Art Hotel. So I do recommend that hotel, guys, for a stay in St. Julian's if you want to stay in that particular area. But what I did this time to get an amazing bargain, to get a very, very good deal, is I went direct on the hotel website. They're actually part of Radisson Individuals now. And you put your email address in and you sign up on that website and then you get a big discount. So I just paid, I think it was about 65 euros a night to stay in the hotel. It was very good value for money. Another thing to consider when you're here as well in Malta is stay in the right location for your needs on your holiday. For example, if you like nightlife, you like nightclubs, you like bars, you like pubs, you want to go out and party at night time, you want to stay in an area called St. Julian's, and the part of St. Julian's you want to stay in is called Pachaville. Pachaville has the best nightlife in Malta. If you stay here in St. Julian's, you're going to be getting taxis every night home from Pachaville to get back to your hotel in Valletta. If you stay in Budjiba or Aura, there was very, very little nightlife down there. A couple of pubs, but the pubs were quite quiet, really.
those people who can't get the Facebook, if it's under Joe Board, jew inkella under Gday Maltaussies show. I can understand why. But if you can't tell the others to click on follow, simple. Just click on follow and it shouldn't be any problem. The Hamroon Club in Sydney present San Gaetano Dinner Ball and Festa. Dinner dance on Saturday, 8th of August. The Maltese concert band and also Charlie Muscat. Then we have Sunday, 16th of August with a mess followed by the statue of San Gaetano. Will be out also and there for you to look at as well. Entertainment by Charlie Muscat and of course the Maltese concert band, and it's free of charge on that festa. For the dinner ball, the members $70 and guests $75, including 4-course meal, spirits and wine, beer, etc. For tickets or more details, please ring Joe BORG on 0414-429-391. I trust that you'll enjoy the show, and until we meet again next week, God bless. Good day, Maltausies show. For all type of video and audio transfers on DVDs or CDs, please contact Joe BORG on 0414-429-391.